What is up, everybody? We are back for another episode of Palm City Chucks. We are going to be continuing our Super Bowl era ranking series here tonight, hitting on the tight ends. We are almost done here. We've got two more to go. This one and then a defensive rankings, which we'll do a little bit differently than these. Top 15 might be a little bit ridiculous for all those positions, but let's stay with what's on hand for tonight, and that is the tight ends top 15 all time. I thought this one was going to be easier, and in a way it was, because it feels a lot more opinionated. I feel like the top guys are pretty set. The order could be different, but
Yeah.
do you consider blocking? Do you care only about receiving tight ends? It's a lot. It's a lot of opinion based, in my opinion. So I think these could look quite different between the two of us. I'm excited to find out what Chris has for us here, and with that, I will kick it to him to start us off.
Right. Yeah. For starters, want to give a few of my honorable mentions. I will say it was easier to get 15 than the others. I mean, it felt like you were pulling from a pool of like 80 players for these other positions, but for tight ends, it was definitely less names, but still very difficult to narrow it down to 15. So yeah, I want to give two shout outs. First being a Lion in Charlie Sanders, one of like the pioneers of the position as far as receiving. Yeah, I think a lot of these guys don't make the list if it wasn't for pioneers like him kind of paving the way. Hey, we can do more than block. We can catch the ball a little bit. And then my second honorable mention being Heath Miller, a guy who really wasn't known for receiving, but has decent receiving stats, but was a hell of a blocker and just all around a really, really good tight end. It was very tough to leave him off. But yeah, let's get into it. At 15, let him make the cut here. He is a current player. He's still playing. But he was very close to giving this specifically to Heath Miller. But the receiving stats are solid, and it's only going to improve. He's not too old. But 15, I have Mark Andrews coming in. And yeah, I mean, stats are solid. 49.2 yards per game, 12.3 yard per catch average. He ranks 20th all time at the position in receiving yards. And like I said, he's about halfway through his career. So to be 20th already, not shabby, but sitting just under 6,000 yards. And he's got 56 touchdowns to go with 484 career receptions, ranking 20th as well, all time at the position.
All right. I really like the honorable mentions that you listed there. Really, really respect those, Sanders and Heath Miller. Love Heath especially. You mentioned he wasn't a crazy receiver, but he made some big catches. There was a reason anytime the man touched the ball in Pittsburgh, you would just hear
Yes, you heard it.
Heath.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's
Every
right.
time. And they tried to even keep that going with Pat Fryermuth, making it Muth instead. Like, that
Moose.
just
Yep.
shows how influential and great that Heath was for Pittsburgh. So I love that you've got him there at honorable mentions. I will say we're not like really in the debate stages. We're just starting, but Mark Andrews at 15, I am a little surprised by. I actually did not even consider him for my list, actually. So that's fun. That's like I led
Yeah.
this off with it. There's a lot of opinion in here. There really is a lot of opinion when it comes to tight ends, I think.
Yeah, I
But with
agree.
that, I'm gonna hit some of my honorable mentions just because got to, right?
Got to.
So first one here, I gotta name Mike Ditka. His best years were the 5 years before the
Yeah.
Super Bowl era, which is why he does not make this list, because Super Bowl era, within our parameters, he really didn't have many great years after those first five, but he was a Pro Bowler for all five of those first year, whatever it was called back
Oh
then. I
yeah.
can't even remember, but he was amazing. So honorable mention for him just for being so good before the Super Bowl,
Right.
and one of those really
Yeah, and
early tight end guys.
he was the only rookie tight end to have over 1,000 receiving yards till Kyle Pitts.
Yep.
Like, look at that range of years. Like this
Yep.
guy was way ahead of his time, but yeah, didn't make the cut as you mentioned. Most of his years were before um, the Super Bowl era, so doesn't make the cut. But yeah, one of the best tight ends all time without a doubt.
Yeah. All right, I got two more. Next one I want to touch on here is Jimmy Graham. I feel like this guy goes completely underappreciated for his time in New Orleans. He was absolutely amazing for them. Great blocker for a true like basketball style, taking after Tony Gonzalez. I'm sure a guy we'll talk about later. Type tight end, throw the ball up, he will out rebound you to go and catch that ball. And the last one here, this is a current guy that he wasn't ever going to make my list, but he's been so excellent in his first couple years in the league that he's going to be on this list someday. So I just wanted to give him a shout, and that's Trey McBride. I mean, he has just been amazing for the Cardinals so far. Like, his career's so short that he wasn't ever going to actually make this list,
Oh
but
yeah,
I did want to give him a little shout out here because I think he will be on this list one day, probably alongside another guy, Brock Bowers, but only 2 years in the
yeah,
league for Brock, so he can't get quite into the honorable mentions yet. Trey's got a few more. So wanted to call him out because he's been really excellent as well. But with that, let's get to my number 15. As I said earlier, it's really what do you take into account? Blocking, receiving, a little bit of both.
yeah.
It's so subjective. And for this guy, his receiving numbers aren't amazing. They're not poor, not amazing, but he was such a good blocker. He was commonly referred to as a sixth offensive lineman by his teammates, his peers, everything. And that is Vernon Davis, man. I love me some Vernon Davis. Absolute baller. I mean, still puts up 75, 62 receiving yards, 63 touchdowns. He played for like 14 years, so pretty good longevity there. A lot of it in San Francisco. Spent like half a season in Denver and then ended his career in Washington. 2 times Pro Bowler. He wins a Super Bowl. I mean, number 85, never forget it. But receiving stats, he probably doesn't make this list alone if that's what you care about, but I gotta appreciate blocking in a tight end, and he is one of the better ones to ever do it at the tight end position. So I got him in at 15.
I love it, man. I mean, you know this, but Vern's one of my all-time favorite football players, period. When I was really young, I always said if I had two boys, I would name them Vernon after Vernon Davis and Thaddeus after Thaddeus Young.
You
And
do love
yeah,
some Thaddeus Young, man.
I love me some Thad Young. But yeah, Vernon Davis, amazing. And I mean, couldn't be better timing because he comes in at 14 on my list. Um, but yeah, a guy who did it all and was just really underutilized as a weapon because he was a phenomenal blocker. But I mean, the man had crazy speed for his size. And you saw glimpses of it throughout his career of how special he could be receiving. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I would argue his receiving stats are enough to get him on this list anyhow. I mean, he's 13th all time in receiving yards and 13th in receptions among tight ends. We're doing top 15. That makes the cut, buddy. But yeah,
Fair.
he's a phenomenal player. But yeah, it was never really the focal point of an offense, but always felt like he could have been had it been a different scheme or, different roster situation. But yeah, love that he's on your list. One of my favorites all time. It took a lot to keep him this low at 14 because I had to harness the bias big time there. Um, but yeah, love me some Vern.
That's fair. That's fair. But I love that he made your list as well. I think he's deserving on being on these lists. So big fan of that.
Yeah, the main thing that hurts Vern is probably yards per game going through the stats. Only
Yeah,
38.2 yards
38.
per game, but does have the 13 yard per catch average, which, shows that big playability. That's better than 90% of my list I'm looking at. So, yeah, I mean, the potential was always there, but whatever it was, he never really fully untapped the potential.
Yeah. Totally fair. Totally fair. Coming in at 14 on my list is one of your honorable mentions. I do have Charlie Sanders making my list at
Nice.
14. You're right. I understand why you left him off his list. Only 4,800 receiving yards, 31 touchdowns, only played for 10 years. I say only played for 10 years. That's quite good in the
It's pretty good.
NFL. So, excuse me there. But, I mean, 7 times Pro Bowler, 2 times All Pro, All Decades team in the 70s. He is in the Hall of Fame. And something you got to take into consideration when you're looking at these receiving stats is for his time, these receiving stats for a tight end are amazing. They are
Yeah.
fantastic.
Like I said, a pioneer. Like it
Yes,
was
exactly.
500, 600 a year, which doesn't sound great, but back then for a tight end to be doing that, pretty amazing.
No, absolutely fantastic for a tight end. And bonus, he played his entire career in Detroit. So I'm a fan of that.
Respect. Mad respect. I like it. For me, coming in at number 13, this is where I have Greg Olson coming in. Um, Perhaps a little high, but you know, I was never really wooed by Greg. I mean, I saw most of his career, as did you. Um, Very solid, but never really took the league by storm. Never was like the best tight end in the league. Was always one of them, but yeah, it was just always good. Nothing ever blew me out of the water, though. As far as the stats go, 43.6 yards per game, 11.7 yards per reception. He ranks 7th in all time yardage at 8,683 yards. He's got 60 touchdowns and 742 receptions, which also ranks 7th. So very solid, very deserving of being on this list. But yeah, never really was like, holy moly, which we'll get to some holy molies.
We will get to some holy molies, and yeah, I don't mind where you've got Greg Olson here. I'm not gonna spoil it. He's on my list, but he's not at the top of the list. But so I don't mind where you've got him here. I agree a lot with what you said. He was just a player. Never really saw
Yeah,
anything that made me
right.
go wow. But he was just a damn good player.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he played in Carolina for most of his career. But just had to throw that out there. But coming in at number 13 for me is another old timer here. This one was tough because he had a couple good years pre Super Bowl era that I had to like try to completely discard, but continued to have some really amazing seasons for a tight end at the time post Super Bowl era, and that is John Mackey. So he played 3 seasons before the Super Bowl era and had two Pro Bowls in there. 800-yard season for a tight end in there, but I had to axe those. So I got to make my case without those 3 seasons.
Right.
And in his first 3 seasons of the Super Bowl era, Pro Bowl, All Pro, excuse me, I was totally blanking on what I was looking for there, but All Pro, he has an 829-yard season, a 686-yard season, and a 644-yard season in his first 3 years in the Super Bowl era as a tight end. That's insane
That's
for a
special.
tight end at the time. Like, really, really good. 331 grabs, 5,200, 36 yards. So he started his career even before Charlie Sanders, so when tight ends were even less relevant, and he still finished with more yards and receptions and everything in the same amount of years. So that's just really impressive. I felt like he had to make my list with those numbers right there.
Very nice and fair. Coming in at number 12 for me, this is where I have Zach Ertz making the list. First Eagle out of the whole series. I finally got one in here. But yeah, I think Zach is definitely deserving of this. He was just honestly crucial to the Eagles the whole time he was there. But yeah, very solid with the Cardinals and the Commanders as well, and still going. 13 years in the league to this point, 47.5 yards per game, only a 10.4 yard per catch average, which is so true. This guy's not going to break tackles. He's a really, really one of the best route runners out of everyone on this list, and sure-handed. But yeah, he's not going to break tackles, and he's not going to be the best blocker in the world. But as far as receiving goes, he's one of the best. 8,592 total yards, comes in at 8th, and he's got 57 touchdowns to go with it. and he's 5th all-time in receptions at 825. Definitely deserving of making it, but yeah, definitely left some things to be desired for the tight end position, which is why I have him all the way up at 12.
Interesting. Yeah, Zach Ertz, also another one like Mark Andrews that I didn't really consider very heavily for my list. I don't necessarily have a problem with you fitting him in there. He's an Eagle, wasn't part of those teams, got good numbers, but I never thought that he was amazing at anything in particular. And as you said, he falls short as a blocker. So didn't love that. That's why I kept him off of my list. I kind of consider him a lot to be like Greg Olsen, to be honest, but a little bit worse. Like I would take Greg over Zach Ertz personally, which obviously isn't the case for you. You've got Zach ahead of Greg here, but so that's. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. We'll settle on that for now. But all right, coming back for me at number 12, this is where I have Dave Casper coming in, another old timer. The top end of my list here is filled with these old timers here, because this was kind of hard to balance, like what a tight end was back then. You still got to give them credit for what they were able to do during that time, given what a tight end really meant, and just all these new guys that are very much going to have more receiving numbers. Like what I tried to think about was, like, I'll use Zach Ertz since we were just talking about him there for a minute. If Zach Ertz went back and played in the 1970s, is he putting up 5,000 yards like these guys? I don't think so. And he can't block, so that's... I wouldn't say.
I was gonna say he'd be a wide receiver if he played back then.
Yeah, so
he wouldn't even
hard
be
to balance those, and these old timers deserve their credit, man. So we got Dave Casper, played primarily for the Raiders, but also for the Houston Texans in the 1970s and 80s. Puts up 5,200 yards, 52 touchdowns, 378 receptions. He averages only 35.5 yards per game, but that's kind of a trend you notice with these old tight ends and even some of these new tight ends, like we mentioned with Vern. Their yard per games numbers are not great, because tight ends can be so streaky too. They can have a 150-yard game, and the very next game they've got one grab for 11 yards, but they still did their job.
Yard per catch for these old timers, I'm way more zoned in on, because they just didn't have the opportunity. So you have to look at when they got the opportunity, what'd they do with it?
Yep. So this guy averaged 13.8 yards per grab. Pretty decent.
Phenomenal.
Very interesting. Yeah, especially for the time. That's pretty great. 5 times Pro Bowl, 4 times All-Pro. He's in the Hall of Fame. He won the Super Bowl twice. He's made the 70s All-Decade team as well. Just really fantastic career here from Dave Casper.
Very nice. For me, coming in at number 11, this is where I have Jimmy Graham. So the lists are going to be very different, folks, which we haven't had too much disparity through wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks. So this will be fun. But yeah, I have Jimmy coming in here at number 11, 13 years in the league. He has 1 All-Pro first team, 43.4 yards per game, 11.9 yards per catch. And he got a shadow. He's 9th all-time in yardage at 8,545 yards, 89 touchdowns, and 719 receptions, which is good enough for 8th as far as tight ends go. So, yeah, stats are there, and when you're talking about a tight end at his peak, I mean, it's tough to get better than what Jimmy Graham was doing. I mean, he was such a joy to watch growing up. And, yeah, it was a shame he had some issues a lot of the last few years. I mean, 13 years, I would argue 5 of them he wasn't himself. So, yeah, it was a shame. But, yeah, at his peak, man, this dude was a stud.
Yeah. Made my honorable mentions. I really don't have a problem with him making your list or being as high as 11. I think that's totally acceptable. I said it myself. I think what he did is undervalued pretty commonly. So I like that he made your list here. So coming in at number 11 for me, this is where I have Greg Olsen. Looking back at my notes, I actually kind of forgot for a moment that he started his career in Chicago for 4 years. It's pretty fun little tidbit there. Forgot about that. Um, but one thing I want to expand on since we went through most of these, but that 3 year stretch he had from in 2014, 15, 16, 3 years in a row, over 1,000 yards. I mean, that's just really
It's
excellent for a
tough.
tight end to produce like that. I mean, come on. And in those same years, putting up 6, 7, and 3 touchdowns. The 3 touchdowns isn't great, but for a tight end, the 6 and 7, that's really not bad at all. As a wide receiver, you're hoping for 10, and you have like a really great season. So for a tight end, 6 and 7, that's pretty excellent if you ask me. So Greg Olsen coming in at number 11 for me.
Very nice. Number 10, top 10 tight ends of all time. Number 10, I got Ozzie Newsome coming in. 13 years in the league. He has one first team All Pro, 40.3 yards per game, 12.1 yards per catch. He ranks 11th all time in receiving yards with 7,980 yards, 47 touchdowns, and 662 catches. Good enough for ninth all time amongst tight ends. Pretty good stats. Nothing absolutely crazy, but what makes Ozzie secure this 10 spot for me is he did it in 1978 to 1990. As we said, tight ends were not really used as weapons back in the day. So another pioneer of, getting involved in the offense through receiving the ball. But yeah, a guy that it makes you wonder in today's NFL what those stats would look like. But yeah, a stud.
Yeah, it really is just hard to compare because tight ends, they're not the same at all. Like the tight ends
Yeah,
of
it's
today,
completely
I
different.
feel like most of them, well, with a couple exceptions that can really block, wouldn't excel in the old game as a tight end. And the majority of tight ends, probably outside of the ones that we've listed on this particular list, because they could also catch the ball, would
Yeah,
really struggle in today's game to an excel as a tight end as well. So it's so hard to
very
compare this
fair.
position, man. But moving on, I've got my number 10, and I feel like this is one you're gonna have a problem with. Most specifically about how high he is on my list. I know he's going to be on your list, and I know it's going to be lower. I'm just not sure how low. And so number 10 for me is George Kittle. Got George Kittle coming in at the 10 spot. He's an athletic freak. He can really block. He can really grab the ball. He's an excellent receiver. It's fantastic. He's 7-time Pro Bowler already in 8 years, 9 years, 7 Pro Bowls, 2 times All
Pro
Pro.
Bowl means nothing though.
And Pro Bowl does mean nothing nowadays.
He
You're
got one this
correct.
past year. Come on now.
Yeah, that's fair. His early ones, like, 2018, 2019, it still mattered like a little bit back then, so I'll give him like
Yeah.
credit there. Plus, he's already up to he's already over 8,000 career receiving yards in 9 years. I mean, almost averaging 1,000 per season. That's pretty excellent,
Yeah.
so can't go wrong with that. And he's only got 52 touchdowns, so he is lacking a little bit in the touchdown numbers. But again, you think about it, based on what I just said, like 6, 7. That's a little bit different in today's game now, but 52 over 9 years isn't terrible by any means. So I don't really have a problem with it. I just couldn't put him up higher because he does have some availability concerns. He gets hurt quite a bit, especially recently, and he's just got more career to play. So will he move up higher on my list? Almost certainly, but for right now, I've got him coming in at number 10.
Yeah. And now one to piss you off. Coming in at number 9 is where I have Jason Witten. Just looking for the reaction for the audio listeners. That's all I'm doing.
Okay.
And we proceed. Two first team All Pros, very nice there. But only a 48.1 yard per game average, 10.6 yards per reception. He's got 13,046 yards, which is good enough for second amongst tight ends. He's got 74 touchdowns and 1,228 catches in his career, also good enough for second all time. I mean, the stats are phenomenal, but it's kind of a Frank Gore situation here, I have to say. And might I add, of all my hatred towards the Cowboys, Witten has always kind of been exempt from this. I've always
Just a good
somewhat
dude.
liked Witten. Like, how could you not? Exactly. You just said it. I mean, he's just a good dude, does his job, loyal. We know I love that shit. I mean, Cowboy the whole way through, 17 years. Very impressive. But again, it's almost like I was saying with the Olsen thing. Like, and Witten was phenomenal, and he was phenomenal as a blocker, too, which you got to give credit there. That does not show up on these stats. And he's probably third or fourth out of everybody on this list as far as blocking goes. Um, but as far as the receiving goes, it's like he was just a safety blanket. He didn't really do anything too special. I mean, 10 yards per catch, nothing crazy there. I'm pretty sure it's the lowest on my list, other than Ertz. He's 10.4, Witten's 10.6. But yeah, he has to be on the list. He's phenomenal. But I'm not going to overpraise him with these stats because really it's just he played forever.
That's
I
fair.
mean, we got a lot of guys on this list that are 9, 10 years, 11 years. You look at Witten's stats through that, and I mean, he probably barely makes a cut, and it's probably a lot due to his ability to block. Which again, you don't get really stats on that, which is unfortunate for these guys. But yeah, so I'm curious to see where you have him because I know for a lot of people he's top 5, and I almost have that doubled here. He's making top 10, but he is coming in at 9 for me.
This was fun for me when you said you were gonna piss me off with this one because
Is
I've
he
got a
9?
surprise for you. He is
He's
number 9 on
fuck
my
yeah,
list
brother.
as well. I
I
mean,
love it.
he is a great player. There's no denying that. You just said all the reasons why. But you got to understand, like, I do buy into the Frank Gore situation a little bit on this one, specifically like receiver. He was just force fed the ball, truly, as well as a tight end. I mean, he had 2 seasons with over 140 targets, add another 4 over 120, add another 2 over 110, and another one with over 100. And in the time frame that he played, especially, mostly early 2000s, and he did get all the way to 2020, but like he was really old at that point. So like his primary playing years, tight ends were not getting 140 targets, man. They were not getting, but he was.
Yeah.
So I really agree with everything that you said there. He's an absolutely great player, but I just don't think that he's all the way up there at the top 5. I just couldn't do
Yeah.
it. So 9 feels like the right spot. I'm glad we agree on this one.
Respect. And and in the mood of agreement, number 8 is where I have George Kittle. So I didn't go too crazy.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, much like you said, he has a problem staying healthy for one. But yeah, a guy who's probably going to climb as time passes. I think this list in particular is going to change probably more than quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers in 10 years. I mean, there's a handful of current players that we don't have on this list that probably will be when their careers are up or towards the end. Um, but yeah, Kittle's going to climb. But for now, I mean, I think 8 is a fair place. 2 first team All Pros, which is phenomenal, especially considering the tight ends he's been in the league with during or at the same time. I think those two speak volume to how good he is. He is a guy who does both. He blocks very well. Probably the best blocking tight end in the league right now. And yeah, he's a more than capable receiver to go with it. But yeah, for now, I think this is kind of a safe place to put Kittle. And yeah, it's certainly subject to change, but I'm not going to go overboard.
Okay. Okay. Respect. I did think you were going to have him. My guess would have been 6. So split the difference 10, 10, 8, to 6. So I don't mind that at all. No complaints. Coming in at number 8 for me, this is where I've got Jackie Smith. Kind of a rarity. A guy played tight end starting 3 years before the Super Bowl era, but he played 16 years, so he still had 13 years to go post Super Bowl era, and in his first 5 years in the Super Bowl era, 5 Pro Bowls. The first 5 years, 5 Pro Bowls. A guy who played tight end in the 1960s and 70s finished with 7,918 receiving yards, 16.5 yards per grab. That is insane,
It is.
especially for that
It
era.
is.
That is ridiculous for a tight end. Absolutely ridiculous. His touchdown numbers, are a little bit lower, only 40. But my goodness, this guy was an absolute baller. I mean, in his second year in the Super Bowl era, he finished with 1,200 receiving yards as a tight end in 1967. Are you kidding me? That is absurd. Absurd. So I've got him in here at number 8.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a stud. Another one that makes you wonder, like, what would they be doing today in today's NFL? But yeah, moving on. Number 7 for me. This is where I have Shannon Sharpe coming in. 14 years. He has 3 Super Bowls to his name, 4 first team All Pros, 53 yards per game, 12.3 yards per reception. He is 5th all time in yardage at 9,961. He's got 61 touchdown grabs to go with it and did it all in 808 receptions, good enough for 6th all time for tight ends. Originally, I had him higher, closer to the top. But I mean, the guy's just too damn good. And when you see that for 4 first team All Pros, it makes you it makes you want to keep him there. But yeah, I mean, some of these names we're gonna get to, guys were just stupid good. But Shannon definitely was too, and he was very fun to watch. A guy you definitely got to go give the highlights a watch there. Phenomenal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like the spot for him. I don't have him here, but he is coming up on my list, obviously. I think we're at the point now where most of these guys are probably shared between lists, but my number 7 is a guy that you named a little bit earlier at your number 10, and that is Ozzie Newsome for me. As you mentioned earlier, 1-time All-Pro, 3 times Pro Bowler, the all-80s decade team. Pretty fantastic. Just short of 8,000 yards, 47 touchdowns. Playing with the lowly-ass Cleveland Browns. Yes, they were bad even then, my friends.
Right.
Like,
Such a
they've
shame.
never really been good since Jim Brown played for them in,
Yeah.
I'm going to exaggerate here, but 1800. It's been like 300 years since they've been good. So, respect to Ozzie Newsome there. Putting up these numbers in the 70s and 80s for a tight end's excellent. So he comes in at number 7 on my list.
I dig it. We basically switched old head positions because coming in at number 6 for me, this is where I have Dave Casper come in. I'll run through the stats again, but 11 years in the league, 2 Super Bowls, 4 first team All Pros. Yes, again, these old heads lacked their yards per game, only 35.5 yards per game for Casper, but 13.8 yards per reception, which is phenomenal. Just over 5,000 yards, 52 touchdowns, and 378 receiving yards, or receptions, sorry. But yeah, just another guy where you wonder. You wonder what he would do today. And we could use more guys like him in today's NFL because this man is probably, arguably, the best all around tight end. He was phenomenal in the trenches as a blocker. But yeah, also a pioneer as far as the receiving tight end goes.
Yeah. All right, coming in at number 6 for me, that's where I've got Shannon Sharpe. So just one spot ahead of you, and you mentioned it. I mean, 4 All-Pros is just really excellent. I mean, he was insane from the 92 to 98 season, 7 straight Pro Bowls, excuse me. So 7 of his 8 come in those 7 years. 3-time Super Bowl champion, playing with John Elway. You know how it is. On the 90s decade team, in the Hall of Fame. Over 10,000 receiving yards, 62 touchdowns. Just a really excellent player. Fun to get to see him on TV still today. Kind of can appreciate that. I think he thinks he's funnier than he is, but he is actually funny sometimes as well. So it's a mix. It's a mix of both.
For
But yeah,
sure.
so Shannon Sharp coming in at number 6, and you're right, we were pretty close to basically just switching old heads, which is fair, man. These old heads are
Yeah.
hard to
Like you said,
place,
and
but
very, very opinionated with the tight ends. And
yeah.
if you didn't put it together too, I definitely was more strict with my separation of Super Bowl era or not, because you have some greats that I left off because a lot of their greatness came before the Super Bowl era. But kudos to you for putting them in anyway, because yes, they were great when the Super Bowl era was around too. Um, but yeah, I did hold that against them, which if they had those numbers contributed into post Super Bowl era, they'd probably make the cut for me. But yeah, definitely missed some of the greats. But yeah, we both big Casper guys,
Yep.
and we both got Ozzy too. He was special. But yeah, let's get in the top 5 ski. Numero 5 for me is Kellen Winslow. 9 years in the league, 0 Super Bowls, but he does have 3 first team All Pros, 61.8 yards per game. Now we're talking. And this man played from 79 to 87, 61.8 yards per game. That is, let me just look quick. I got to just eyeball this shit. That's like the 4th best on my list. And we're talking about a guy from 79 to 87. Truly
Yep.
remarkable. A lot of people have this guy top 3. But yeah, you got to have him top 5. You haven't mentioned him yet. You freaking better be on your list. I have a feeling he might be your number 5. But yeah, 15th all time in yardage, 6,741 yards. He grabbed 45 touchdowns in his career and 541 receptions. Good enough for 17th all time. But yeah, only a 9-year career for this guy too. But again, the 3 first team All Pros pop at you, and that's 61.8 yards per game back then. Just special.
Yeah. You read me correctly. Kellen Winslow's on my list, and he is also in my number 5 spot.
There you go.
I'm thinking our top
Don't play me
5
in
is
poker,
going
bro.
to be the same players, same players. I don't know about the order, but I think it'll be the same players if I had to take a wild guess. 5 was
Yeah.
a question mark, but glad to see Kellen Winslow in there. And to your point, I do feel like I was actually pretty strict about the pre-Super Bowl stuff. Like I cut that out. Like Mike Ditka, for example, it did make my list because all of it was before. But like
Right.
the one I'm surprised, the one I'm really just a little aside here is like I am surprised that Jackie Smith did not come up on your honorable mentions or like your actual list. Because like I said, I mean his first 5
Yeah,
years
he
in
was
the league,
phenomenal.
like,
The minute you
phenomenal.
said him, I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna have some explaining to do.
Yeah, I've been doing mental math this entire time about how many spots are left. I'm like, oh, does he have them like much
Yeah,
higher? I'm like,
right. Yeah.
and then we got to 5 here, and you
it's
said
rough.
Winslow, and I was like, okay, he's not replacing any of the other top 4. So that's
Yeah,
one. I
he's
think that's
not
the
on the
first
list.
one that I have. Like, I didn't love Zach Ertz, didn't love Mark Andrews, but I think leaving off Jackie Smith entirely is the first thing, maybe in this ranking series, where I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And honestly, it is fair. Like I said, he had a really nice body of work that was just not counting for him. And yeah, I guess I held that against him. And it's tough
So
with
he
these
still had
current guys.
11 years in the Super Bowl era. So
Yeah.
like there's that,
But
or
not some
maybe
of
even
his
more than
best.
that.
But yeah, it's also tough too. Some of these current guys that are still going, like there's the glimmer of what else are they going to do that you got to try and keep out of your brain when you're making these lists, because it's like all time, if football just died tomorrow, what is the list? But yeah,
If football
it's
died
difficult
tomorrow,
to
I'd
do.
die tomorrow. That's what I know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it'd be like our alien leader just dying and then we all just keel over. Yeah,
Yes.
it's totally one of those. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do feel bad about leaving him out, and I agree. I think it's probably I think the lists are solid. I still
Yeah.
don't mind my list here, but it's the worst sin I've done, probably.
No, yeah, I don't like mind, but like at least honorable mention that guy. God damn.
Yeah. Well, part of that is too. I've like legit. I've showed my paper. I think almost every time we've done these.
Yeah.
I don't have room. Like, there's a few other guys I would have loved to discuss as honorable mentions. Ditka even being one crossed my mind, but yeah, it's just it is tough to get all of this good stuff down and out to you people on one sheet of paper. Of course, there's the option for more than one sheet, but who wants to
Hey,
do
we're
that?
trying to be environmentally sound here, all
Yeah,
right? We're pro environment on Palm City Chucks.
yeah, that's right. I would if it wasn't for that strict PCC rule.
Yes, very strict. But yeah,
Yes.
to wrap it up, I mean, you just went over Kellen. I'd have Kellen Winslow at number 5 as well, and you called it out there. I mean, 5 Pro Bowls in 9 years. When they mattered, 5 out of 9 is pretty good.
Yeah.
And his sunset season was one of his Pro Bowl years as well, so that was pretty fun. And 3 All-Pros, so 3 out of 9 years being an All Pro is just amazing. 80s All Decade team,
Yeah.
awesome. So I
I
got him at
mean,
5.
and like you said, pretty safe to assume the four guys remaining on both of our lists, but like they're all fairly recent. Like Kellen Winslow was the best tight
Yeah.
end for a long time.
Yep.
And yeah, like I said, some people still have him in that top three range and maybe even still the number one spot because, yeah, what he was doing for way back then, truly remarkable. But yeah, let's get into the top four here. See the difference in the ordering. Number four for me, probably my favorite tight end ever that's not named Vernon Davis, Antonio Gates. Love this guy. 16 years in the league. Did hang around a little too long, and it's only fair to mention that since I bashed Witten on it and some others. But, Gates, what he did in his prime was phenomenal. And without a doubt, in my opinion, any position, just the best red zone threat. Like, this guy was a touchdown machine. 116 in his career. It's just absurd. Absurd. I mean, we got guys on the Kellen Winslow we just mentioned at the 5 spot, 45 touchdowns. 116 for
Yeah.
Gates. Amazing. Yes, he had 7 more years, but I mean, what the hell, man? That still doesn't math. Um, but yeah, 50.2 yards per game for Gates, 12.4 yards per reception. So, he wasn't just that safety net, just that red zone guy. He stretched the field a good bit too. And he's fourth all time in yardage, 11,841, and fourth as well in receptions with 955. But first in touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So this is another one that we actually do share here. I do have Antonio Gates coming in at number 4 for me as well, which honestly was hard to do. I mean, everything you said there, he's got quite the career. I mean, the 160
Yeah.
touchdowns, leading tight ends of all time, as you said, probably the best red zone threat that to ever exist, and may be the best to ever exist. I don't think
Yeah.
we've seen anything quite close to the threat that he brought inside the red zone. You mentioned 8 Pro Bowls. They were in 8 years in a row from '04 to 2011. Leads him to making, of course, the 2000s All Decades team. How could you not with
Oh,
a
yeah.
tight end like that? So just the chemistry that he had with Philip Rivers, absolutely amazing.
Oh,
A
yeah.
very fun player to watch growing up.
Yeah. Just truly amazing and did it all while being a basketball guy.
Yep.
Like football wasn't even his thing until it was, and I'm sure he has no regrets.
Probably not. A lot of money.
Yeah. Right. Moving on, top three tight ends of all time post Super Bowl era, or in the Super Bowl era. Number three, Travis Kelce. 13 years in the league and still kicking. He's got 3 Super Bowls. He's got 4 first team All Pros. He averages 67.7 yards per game, which is good enough for first on this list for me. 12 yards per catch. He's third in yardage at 13,002, and he is third in receptions with 1,080. Also has 82 touchdowns to his name. This guy is for sure one of the best tight ends ever, has been for years. We are certainly beginning to see the decline. But yeah, what a special player. Have him third, mostly due to the lack of blocking, the lack of grit. I don't see that from him. And it's interesting because we sure as hell saw a lot of it from his brother. I guess that just kind of split in the family. But what a skilled player this guy is. I mean, one of the best route running tight ends I've seen. And talk about chemistry. I mean, the chemistry he's built with Patrick Mahomes is just phenomenal. They literally share a brain. But yeah, what a special player. And yeah, it's sad to see, even though he's a Chief and I'm sick of it, sad to see the decline. What a special dude.
Yeah. We're on a roll here, man, because Travis Kelce is also my number 3. And I just kind of want to comment on, you mentioned it. It really is sad to see the Travis Kelce decline because what he was in his prime was insane, absolutely insane. A beautiful thing to watch, and it's just so clear he is not quite the same player anymore. And you also mentioned the chemistry that him and Patrick Mahomes have had, and it's sad to say, but I don't know that we will ever see another Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce pass and catch because of Patty's injury. Who's to say that Patty plays at all this year? You know, if the Chiefs are out of it, even if he makes a quick recovery, I doubt they bring him back and force him to play. He might just get the year off. So it's sad to think about the fact that that connection might be done for forever. Yeah. That's tough to deal with.
Yeah, it's especially something I didn't really think of, but you're right, totally possible.
Yeah. But we were blessed to see this career at all. Like, just a little fun backstory. You mentioned Jason, his brother there, and Travis Kelce was very, very close to being permanently kicked off of Cincinnati's college football team. And Jason saved him, vouching for him, bringing him back, and helping pave the way for what became a top 3, at least according to both of us on Palm City Chuck's tight end career ever. Yeah. And I'm certainly grateful that we got to see it. And I just love watching good talent, man.
Yeah, it truly is special. Pretty sure he even vouched for him in the draft too.
Yeah, probably to Andy
Reid. His older
Reid,
brother always had
whoever
his back,
it was
but
at the time. I can't remember.
I think it was Andy. If it doesn't, my story is a delusion. But yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Was Andy Reid already at the?
I think Andy Reid was
really on the Chiefs in 2013. Holy crap, we're old.
Yeah, I think he was. Jeez. Otherwise, I don't know where I'm pulling this story from, but yeah,
sounds right.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Right. Are you ready for me to mess up our list here? Our streak.
Maybe it's either Rob or Tony. I'm curious to see which one you got.
If I was a betting man, I'd say it's different than yours.
Okay.
I have Rob coming in at 2. Rob being Rob Gronkowski. 11 years in the league. 4 Super Bowls. 4 first-team All-Pros. Good enough for second right behind Travis Kelce at 64.9 yards per game. A 15-yard per catch average. 9,286 receiving yards, good enough for 6th all-time. 92 touchdowns and 621 receptions, good enough for 10th all-time. And he did it all while being a phenomenal blocker. Another tight end that really just played the position extremely, extremely well. And another tight end that reaped the benefit of sharing a brain with your quarterback, because the chemistry he had with Tom Brady was insane too. I mean, yeah, it's funny, you really see that with the tight end position. More, I would argue, more so than receivers with quarterbacks, unless you're a receiver of Matthew Stafford, then it may be different. But yeah, a wonderful connection there. And yeah, ridiculously tough to not put Rob at 1. But yeah, I mean, you just got to make the tough decision. and I kind of leaned the way I leaned in all of my position rankings so far. Because even we'll do a quick flashback, which this will be funny. I'm doing all this justifying if you actually have the same order. Uh, but going to receivers, like I have Jerry Rice first, but I admitted Calvin Johnson at his prime, at his peak, is the best receiver I've ever seen. Running backs, I had Walter Payton, but I admitted Barry Sanders at his peak was, and it's not a Lion thing either. It's not.
It might be a
But
line thing.
it's not a Lion thing. Rob wasn't a Lion, so there, debunked. But yeah, it's something I've done all along. And Tom Brady getting the one spot as well. I mean, I gave it to the guys that played at such an elite level for such a long time. And yes, Tony is number one if it wasn't extremely clear and obvious, but that is why. I mean, Tony did it for 17 years at an insane average statistically. And I don't believe he was as good as a blocker as Rob, but he was totally serviceable. It's not like he was bad. And what he did receiving the ball for how long he did it with numerous teams too, which I guess you could say Rob did, but come on. That was just Tom Brady's
It
team
was
two
just
different
Tom Brady.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll send it over to you. I'm curious what you have to say.
All right. Well, if you were a betting man, you would be
Which
paying
I'm
me
not.
money right now. Yeah. Rob Gronkowski does actually come in at my number 2 spot. And then
Wonderful.
Tony at my number 1.
Look at
So we
us, top
actually have.
fives.
I know, that's pretty crazy. We didn't have like anything the same. And then we got to the top 5. We're like, yeah, it's time to go to work, man. Like, that's kind of what I was saying and leading off this episode with is like the back end is so hard and it's really just subjective. You know, like, what do you really value? What do you like? Blah, blah, blah. I don't really hate anything that you have. I don't love, like I said, I don't love Ertz, don't love Andrews, and your Smith omission is ridiculous, but that's fine. We already talked about that enough. But I really can't agree more with what you said about Rob and Tony here. Like, Rob's 17 touchdown season, absolutely ridiculous. It was only his second season in the NFL, by the way, and he scores 17 touchdowns. 4
Yeah.
other times he scored 10 or more. That's absurd for a tight end. I mean, the big thing too that I just couldn't put him at 1 is you look at the guys around him too, and it's just Rob put up one 1,300-yard season, 2 1,100-yard seasons, and only one other 1,000-yard season. You look at Tony Gonzalez. I mean, come on, there's a little bit more than that going on there. So we didn't ever have like
Right.
that 1,400-yard season that we're seeing out of some of these other guys. So Rob just had to come in at number 2 for me. And another reason was that I put him at 2 here is credit to Rob. Obviously, he's amazing. Just go watch his film, and you'll see that after the ball in his hands, he was ridiculous. One of the
He's a
best tackle
dog.
breaking tight ends that maybe the best tackle breaking tight end that I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely
don't hate it.
ridiculous. But he played with Tom Brady his entire career. That's going to help you out a bit as a receiver, if you ask me. So while I acknowledge how great Rob was, I just could not put him over Tony here. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Rob had to come in at number 2 for me. And just a little aside
Yeah.
here, then I said, we brought up Tom Brady enough times here, and you went through like your old list and stuff. The more time I've had to reflect on our quarterback episode, Peyton Manning's just kind of calling my name, man. I like almost want to do it. I almost want to do it, but like we already did it. But like I just want to get
in
that.
10 years when we do it again. There you go.
Yeah, I'll change my mind. I had time to settle. I became wiser
Yeah.
and older.
Oh yeah, it'll happen. I don't see how
At
it's
some-
possible, but it'll happen.
Yeah, at some point. I feel like I've already given you shit for what I thought about was bad on your list. You got anything on mine that you're not in love with? I have to ask.
I mean, I feel like it's so opinionated. I don't mind your
Yeah.
list. I obviously don't agree with it. Mine's different.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a good list. I'm curious. I guess to nitpick, like we had our switchage of old heads. Like, what made Ozzy better than Casper to you or for you? Would be one question. And then, yeah, I mean, I had Charlie Sanders in the mix. You had him on. He just missed mine. Mackey, I didn't really consider. I guess that's one where we disagree. But yeah, I agree with you. I disrespected Jackie Smith. I'm with you all the way there.
Yep, you certainly did.
Yeah.
Um,
If he has
so the big
grandkids
thing,
listening or watching, I'm sorry.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
screwed your
That's it.
grandpa.
I'm
That's all I'm
sorry. That's
saying.
it.
So big thing for Ozzy versus Casper here was played in very similar time frame, both 70s and 80s, and Ozzy has like 2,700 more yards in the same time frame, and in I think just about the same amount of years. Let me double check the years here, super quick.
13 to
Ozzy actually
11.
had 2 more years, so
Yeah.
especially for that time frame, you don't make up 2,700 yards in 2 years as a tight end. So I definitely valued that. You know, similar in the touchdowns. Casper actually has a beat there with 52 to 47. So it was tight
The yard
margins,
per
but
catch is what I've really held on to for Casper,
yeah,
and just him being regarded as arguably the best blocking tight end ever. Were big things I held on to. But
that's
yeah,
totally
as
fair.
we kind of agreed to, like, yards per game, you got to kind of throw out the window with these old heads. But the yard per catch, I feel, is very, very important. And Ozzy's is great at 12.1 back then. Very nice. But for Casper to be doing 13.8, and yes, as you mentioned, the touchdowns as well, but also just the blocking and the accolades. I mean, they played a lot of their time was overlapped. We got 4 first-team All-Pros for Casper, 1 for Newsom. So it was clear who
I
was running the league at that point.
At the same time, I argue. I think back in the day, they probably valued a true bruiser a little bit more when it came to all
And they
pro
probably
voting.
hated on the
Yeah,
Browns just because they
yeah,
sucked.
exactly. So I don't hate that you had Casper ahead of Newsom. I really don't. I don't mind that. I don't mind the flip flop there. I think an argument could be made both ways.
Yeah, fair. And I just want to not argue, but agree. I love our Kittle placements. I really do.
Yeah,
Because I was fearful you were going to have him too high up. And then when you mentioned him saying that and you were fearful I would, there was a little bit of relief because it was like, nice. We
it's
don't
like we're
have to go
both.
down that road because he is very good and he has very, very good stats. So it would be tough to argue. But when you agree, you don't have to argue.
Correct. I was very pleased that he ended up at 8. I'm like, okay, hell yeah, I can get on board with this.
Yeah.
I like it. I think he'll move up
Yeah.
higher, especially if he can stay healthy for the
Yeah,
rest of his
definitely.
career. But I
Definitely.
think 10 and 8 feel very appropriate for right now.
Yeah. And I love the Kellen Winslow placement from both of us too.
Yep.
Because
I mean, having the
again,
top
that
5 the same is pretty awesome. I have to say, I
yeah,
kind of
it
love that.
is.
Yeah.
It rarely happens. We think alike with a lot of things. We're on the same boat with a lot of broad picture things, but to go this in depth, talking all time, to have any that just line up is a cool feeling. Let alone 5 in a row at the top of the list. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Alrighty, well, with that, everybody, we wrap up yet another Super Bowl era rankings episode here. Hit the tight ends with you. Let us know what your top 15, top 10, top 5 would be. I don't care about any of them. Whatever, Let us know. We want to hear about it. We'll be back. We're going to do a free agency episode here coming soon, and then we will get back into the defensive ranking series to wrap up the Super Bowl era rankings set that we've done here. Love and appreciate y'all for listening in, and we'll be back with you soon.
Later, PCC!